Hi y'all, it's Kimberly here. Thanks for coming to my channel. Long time since I made a video. And I know this video is going to be super late, but the Chrisleys got out of prison. They actually got out a few weeks ago. But I kept thinking I was going to make the video, but I didn't. And then I decided I wasn't going to, but then I was like, might as well. Just to close out the Chrisley, well, they might, actually not to close it out. I'm going to backtrack on that. But just to give a little synopsis of the Chrisleys, in case you don't know who they were some very wealthy people who had a show on, I think it was on TLC, maybe? Honestly, I can't remember what channel it was on, but they had their own show. And they lived an extravagant lifestyle. They were always going shopping or taking trips or doing something like that. And they were just a celebrity reality TV show. And they ended up going to prison. Todd and Julie Chrisley were the parents. And they had several children. Some of them were grown, already moved out of the house. They had some that were still in the house. And they ended up going to prison for a type of financial white-collar crime that it was not in any kind of violent prison sentence or anything like that. It was completely like a paper-top making financial crime. And Todd and Julie, they both got sentenced. They both got charged, got convicted, and sentenced. And Todd got 12 years, Julie got 7 years. And I believe they may have almost completed 2 years or around 2 years, something like that. It's been a while. And they ended up getting a pardon from President Trump. So they got out of jail, and they have since started to kind of have a new, actually they didn't lose all of their career, because mostly when most people go to prison, they lose just about everything. It kind of ruins their life. But these two, they ended up getting a lot of offers, and they're getting more, I think a different type of path in the type of show that they would do. The redemption, I think, from going to prison. And I think they are, it seems to me, Todd was talking about prison reform, and so was Julie, because the conditions are harsh in prison. You don't ever want to go there. I certainly don't want to go there. I try to stay out of there as much as possible. And I think that this experience, even though as negative as it was, they came out with something new in their life that kind of like a purpose, I think. And before, they were just, you know, very wealthy people. They did own a business. They were into real estate. They had a type of real estate business. They were wealthy, but they also borrowed money from a bank. They borrowed approximately $30 million. There were some discrepancies on the applications that they sent in to obtain the money from these banks. And they went to several different banks. And they ended up being in an investigation for these type of crimes. And I honestly don't know if I'm supposed to use alleged, because they were pardoned. And I don't think that completely erases the conviction. I'm not really sure. I don't know how pardons really work. But I guess I'm going to put the whole umbrella of allegedly they did something. But they were convicted. They did get sent to prison, but they were pardoned. They got out. And I think this whole experience, they're kind of religious, or somewhat religious, I think. I didn't really watch the TV show that much. I'd seen a couple of like half episodes or something a long time ago. And then when this came back in the news, I kind of watched some clips on YouTube, like little partial parts of, you know, several hours of their TV show. And I think this new revelation to Julie and Todd about how people who are in prison, the things that they're going through. Even though I believe you should pay for your crimes, if you go to prison, you deserve to, you know, repent or do something. Maybe not repent. I don't know. That's more of a religious type of speak. But to, I guess, pay the price for the crime, you know. And the conditions were really harsh. They suffered through a lot of sweltering heat. And here in Texas, I made a video about this a long time ago. People die here in Texas, like probably 100, 150 people per year die from the heat in Texas prisons. It happens all the time. And if you've never been to Texas, it's extremely hot here in the summer. It can get to 110, 12, 15 degrees. It's probably not quite as hot as Arizona is in some places. In some places in Southern California, like Death Valley and all that, there's a lot of heat in the South Texas area. And where I'm at, it gets extremely hot in the summertime. I absolutely hate it. I gripe about the weather all the time because it gets so hot. And we just started, I think today or either yesterday was the first day of summer. And it's really mild today. We've had a really mild start to, well, it was actually still considered spring. But usually around the 1st of June, it gets really hot here. And we have had a few days that were over 100 or around 100 degrees. But not as many as we should have by now. Because by now it's, what is it, 21st? Today is Sunday. I think it's 22nd. Whatever day it is, I don't know. I lose track of my days until I have to go to work. I have to go to work tomorrow. So I'll check my date. I'll make sure that I set my alarm and everything, get ready to go to work. But that's because I have 3 days off at the end of the week. And I get kind of muddled up. I'm so tired on the first day because we work 4 days. And it kind of, it's exhausting actually. Kind of wears you out. But in the summer here, it's extremely hot. And we haven't had that much hot weather. And this next week, it's going to be somewhat hot. I think it's going to be, some of the days are going to be in the 80s and 90s and then going up to 100. And when you're in a prison cell with no air conditioning, and there's a lot of prisons here that do not have air conditioning, a lot of jails that don't have air conditioning, a lot of people die here in Texas. And they do in other states too, but we have a high number of people that die. And the prison system here does not acknowledge it. They record it not as a heat-related death. They will put down some kind of condition because heat-related deaths cause strokes and they cause heart attacks regularly, and they cause other conditions. If you have health conditions, they can cause asthma attacks that can kill you. So they record it as something else, but it is essentially the heat that will kill you. And Julie and Todd experienced a lot of that, and they experienced a lot of harassment, a lot of, you know, just the general way that things are in prison. And they weren't used to that treatment. You know, they've been, you know, living the high life and getting pretty much whatever they want and doing whatever they want. And then when they were sent to prison, you know, that everything changed. It was just, I can imagine the shock of somebody who's lived like that and then getting nothing. Because I don't live that way, but if I had certain things taken away from me on a daily basis, oh my gosh. I have my phone addiction. I drink Cokes all the time. This is my Coke. I fill it up every day, but actually I fill this up. I'm a caffeine addict, but I don't drink coffee. I don't like coffee, but this, in the little town I live in, there's several places that I can get this filled up from anywhere from 96 cents to $1.07. And it's actually got like an inch thick wall, and then I fill it about half full of ice. And I drink probably about 3/4 of it, so it's actually maybe like a large Coke that I actually drink. People are like freaked out. You know, it's bigger than my head. So they're like, what? You drink all that? But it ain't completely full of Coke. You know, it's got that inch padding around it. And I don't drink the whole thing because it waters down, and I don't like it full of ice, it actually kind of hurts my teeth. And plus, I don't like, it gets watered down. The more ice you put in it, especially here where the weather's hot, it'll melt really fast and your Coke gets watered down. So I drink what I can throughout the day. I don't drink it all in one big setting. This lasts me all day long. But if I didn't have this, if I was in a place where I couldn't have it, I would literally have withdrawals from it. It would be hard for me. And the same thing with sweet tea. I love sweet tea. And actually, I had a sweet tea addiction before I drank Cokes pretty regularly, but I used to drink a lot of sweet tea. But sweet tea has a ton of sugar, or like the way I like it, I put way too much sugar in it. So I kind of tried to wean myself off of sweet tea. I still drink it every once in a while, but not as much as I used to. I used to drink like, I could drink a gallon of sweet tea a day. And that's not good to drink that much sugar. You know, this Coke doesn't have near the amount of sugar that I like in my sweet tea. So this is actually better for me. And like Todd didn't have his hair dye done, and he didn't have his facial creams, and Julie the same thing. She didn't have all the comforts of what she's used to, living the life that she used to. They had to dress in prison uniforms or clothing, and Todd is a clothes horse. He likes to buy clothes. He's a big time shopper. And so that probably gave him withdrawals. I mean, when you don't get to go and do the things that he was addicted to it. He really was. He was constantly buying clothes, and he didn't get to do that once he went to prison. You know, your life changes completely. And I think he saw a lot of things that, it's not just that stuff being taken away. It's like things that were monitored and things that you didn't get to do freely. Like your time was set for what you eat and when you eat. And even if you can use, I believe he was allowed to email Julie. They didn't get to see each other for the time that they were in prison. I think that they did get visits from their, I'm going to say they did, because normally you do. I don't know why they wouldn't have, but from their kids. And, you know, that time is limited. Everything is limited or either taken away from you in prison. And I think Todd was saying that he saw a lot of unfair treatment. He didn't think that things were being done correctly according to how the warden was dispersing all these, I want to say rights. People have a right to phone calls or emails or whatever it may be. And then some things that are just luxuries that are just taken away. You know, you just can't have everything you want in prison. And I don't think he was griping about that. He didn't say anything really about that. I think he missed those things, but I think he was really taken aback by how people didn't get certain things that they should have gotten, or been allowed to do certain things, or the treatment that they received, and especially the heat. That was a big deal. Both him and Julie they're very adamant that the heat was just unbearable, and it really is. I can't imagine being, I mean, there's sometimes the jails here were measured to be like 120, 130 degrees or something close to that, which is basically like slow roasting. That's something that you can slow roast a roast or a piece of meat at that temperature. And so when you're putting a person in a box, basically, with no air conditioning, no ventilation, you're slow roasting them to their death. And I think this experience, like I say, as negative as it was, this is going to be something that could probably be like a purpose, a very purposeful thing for Julie and Todd to do. Because before, yeah, they did have their business and they did do the reality show, but this is something I think that they, you know, it's something very, very personal that they experienced that was very negative, and they wanted to change that. They wanted to, you know, really put an effort into changing these things for people that they said they made friends there, that they had watched people suffer and the things that they went through that was unfair. and they have vowed to fight for prison reform. And so this, as I was talking before, that they were somewhat religious. I think in a way, if they're thinking this way, that it was brought to them because of that this is a new chapter in their life, and it's something that they could purposefully do to cause a good change. Okay, sorry this video was so late. I just haven't been doing my YouTube job lately. But there's going to be a change probably in a few weeks. My sister is moving back to the area where I live. Not in the same town. I live in a small town, but there's a larger city. She's going to be moving back to there. She went to a small town after her son's death, and she's moving back. She's trying to get things, all her ducks set in a row with getting a job. She's also got to get a place to live and be able to move up here. And I think it's probably going to be in the middle of next month, possibly the end, I don't know. But I think she's shooting for the middle of next month, July. And we will be doing some videos together. She'll be starting her own channel, and I'll be doing a lot more. There's a lot more things that I'll be doing. We've made a list, and we've talked about things that we can do together. So we'll do some things together, and we'll post it both on, you know, she'll put her point of view and stuff on her channel, and then I'll put some on my channel. And we'll have two separate channels because we both want our own channel. But some of the things that we do together will cross over on each other's channel and do things together like that. Okay, and I'm excited about it, and it'll be kind of revitalizing my channel, or putting me back to work on my channel. And I'm trying to look into early retirement so that I can do a lot more. So that's what's going on right now. And I'll probably start posting a lot more once she gets here and we get things settled. And I'll probably do a little video or vlog video. I'm helping her move, I think, a vehicle back. She's going to have to rent a U-Haul, drive here, and dump the U-Haul here. And then I'm going to take her back to pick up her, she's an SUV, and we're going to go back and she'll drive her car back. Okay, and that'll be in a while, but I'll make a video about that, and then, I don't know, just see what happens. Thank you.